You are hereby advised that the tips, tactics, stunts, and tricks displayed on our videos are performed by professionals in controlled environments, such as closed ranges. Do not attempt to duplicate, recreate, or perform any of these at home, as personal injury or property damage may result. The producer of this video is not responsible for any such injury or damage.
What's up, ZERT Nation? Instructor Chico here for Rope Week, a series of coffee and hate. Been doing search and rescue now for about 8 years, seen a lot of stuff, seen a lot of good things, seen a lot of bad things. And I'm here this week to kind of share some of my thoughts, some of my advice, show some gear, show some different skills that you should pick up and have kind of in your tool bag to be able to respond, help your neighbors, help your community, and possibly help yourself and family. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Rope Week sponsor, Rock Exotica. They make some of the best gear on the planet in terms of rope access stuff, carabiners, pulleys, grappling hooks. They got a really good product selection. I use them, I love them. I recommend them to everyone that asks, and check them out, rockexotica.com. This week for Rope Week, we're going to be talking about a couple different things. We're going to be talking about some knots that you should learn. We're going to talk about gear that you can buy for yourself or go look for, and we're going to talk about some different techniques and things to think about when it comes to swift water and rope, because they're all very important. Part one, carabiners, kilonewtons. Everyone knows what a carabiner is. You've seen them all over the place. You hold your water bottles with them. Some of you guys climb, some of you guys do rescue stuff. You know all about this stuff. For those that are interested in carabiners, where to buy them, where to look, and specifically what kind of carabiners to buy, this segment's going to be for you. So here in front of me, we have all sorts of carabiners. Some of them, in my opinion, are carabiners. Some of them are carabiner-ish. And what I mean by carabiner-ish is that they have the shape of a carabiner, they function like a carabiner, but they're not going to hold like a carabiner, at least the carabiners that we'd want to run on our kit or run out in the backcountry or for whatever reason purchase and possibly use. So in front of me here, all sorts of different varieties. Some of them right off the bat, just from looking, you can tell kind of what's a mock carabiner and what's an actual carabiner, and some of them you can tell carabiners that I've actually used. You can see some kind of wear and tear on them. So going through the lot here, obviously this right here looks like a carabiner. By all intents and purposes, you could call it a carabiner, but this right here I wouldn't carry with me. You know, I'd put my keys on this, but I wouldn't put anything on this that I actually cared about. You know, you pick these up at Walmart for $1, you get them freebies at conferences and things. They're handy to carry stuff, but this is not the kind of stuff we want to use. Now, other than just to look at this, we're looking at this carabiner here. How do we know that this carabiner can't hold me, it can't hold a car, it can only hold a water bottle? We're going to teach you guys that right now. Within rope access, within rope rescue, within climbing, any kind of rope type stuff, where you're having someone hang on a line, you're dealing with gravity, okay? And we're dealing with gear that needs to be strong enough to keep us in the air and keep us not from decking out. So all that gear, more or less, is rated by a kilonewton system. Kilonewton. And kilonewton, what is that? So for us, a kilonewton, it's the metric system. Here in the States, we're not too great with it. A kilonewton essentially is 220 pounds. The actual number is somewhere between 220 and 225, but because we're dealing with weights, because we're dealing with stuff that is going to possibly be keeping us fighting gravity, we're going to round it down to 220. Okay? If you want to do 225, that's fine. If you want to do 223, that's on you. There's a lot of math involved when you start messing with this stuff. 220 is a nice, easy number that my brain and maybe some of your brains can actually compute and work with. So the kilonewton system. Kilonewton, we're going to operate from the belief that and fact that a kilonewton is about 220 pounds. So this particular carabiner, who thinks this can hold 220 pounds? Hopefully nobody's raising your hand. If you are, then possibly please don't ever do anything rope-wise. The rest of these carabiners here, we're going to look at them. We'll start with this awesome Rock Exotica aluminum carabiner. A couple things to point out here on the carabiner. Okay, the two places you want to look. Number one here is the gate. Okay, that's what actually the mechanism that opens up that allows you to put rope or whatever you're clipping into there. The key that you want to look for to know if it's an actual good carabiner that you can use is along the spine here. Okay, on the front side here we have Rock Exotica's brand name, and we got the Pirate. This is called a Pirate carabiner. It's an Orca tri-lock, but we'll go into that later. The key piece of information for this carabiner is on the back. Okay, along this spine right here, you'll see KN, and you'll see a couple directional arrows, and you'll see a number. And then more often than not, you'll see another directional arrow and another number. Okay, the different numbers, and we'll try to do it so it makes sense here on the video. This particular aluminum carabiner from Rock Exotica, we're going to say left to right. Okay, so in this fashion right here, left to right would be a load like this. Load pulling this way, a load pulling this way. According to the specs on this carabiner, you'll see there's a 26. Okay, that means 26 kilonewtons. For you math nerds out there, if you have a calculator, go ahead and punch that in. On average, it's going to be anywhere about 5,000 pounds. An aluminum carabiner pulled in this direction with the gate closed is usually going to be about 5,000 pounds. You'll see ones out there that'll be rated 21 kilonewtons. You'll see some that are rated 28. Play with the math all you want for quick decisions, quick getting into a system. You're going to look at that and go, that's a 5,000 pound carabiner. Okay? The other direction we care about is the up-down. That means if it's loaded this way. Okay? We don't ever want to load a carabiner that way. Carabiners always wanted to be loaded along their axis. If they're loaded along this, they become significantly weaker. In this case, this particular carabiner, from that 26 initially, this direction, it goes to 11. Very big problem. So that's why when you see people use carabiners in different systems, they're always loaded along their major axis. They're always flat, whatever you want to call this, like this. If they ever twist, ever they move, which happens a lot, they adjust them. Okay? So rating a carabiner, check the spine, check the numbers.